Anin, Nindagnak, Nimki Kapaneshi Kwendishnakas, Wapagag Dodem. My name is Dorothy Taylor, and I'm from Curve Lake First Nation, and I introduced myself in the language of the Mississauga Ojibwe. We are pleased to present to you our research from the RCE Kawartha entitled UNESCO Research on Indigenous Education. Our website is at the bottom of this slide, RCE Kawartha, if you want to know more about us. We are going to focus on particularly two programs that we believe best represent Indigenous-led education. And that is Bishka Program, Fleming College, and Braided Healing with Learning First Nation Technical Institute. I'd like to introduce my fellow presenters. This is Ashley Safar. She's the manager of Indigenous Student Services at Fleming College, and she implements the Bishka program, and she'll be presenting that part of our research. Also, we have Jane Gray. She is a student at Trent University here in Peterborough, Ontario, and a Ph.D. student and a teacher. And she's also the author of this research entitled UNESCO Research on Indigenous Education. Jane.
So our RC's #1 long-term objective has been to recognize the vital importance of Indigenous knowledge systems across curricula. So this research project is building on Trent's Channing Wenjack School for Indigenous Studies. They were also a partner in this research. The school has been around for 50 years. It was the first Indigenous Studies department in Canada. It has really led the way in bringing Indigenous pedagogies to the fore, land-based learning, experiential learning, bringing language and culture to programs across the university, including education, environment, and business. And now there's a mandatory course credit in Indigenous studies for all disciplines. Within that department is also Indigenous Environmental Studies and Sciences, which is also the first of its kind in North America. Tracks program for younger students, another first out of Trent University. Of course, Fleming College, Indigenous Perspectives and Indigenous Student Services, and we'll hear more about that from Ashley. We have some amazing community organizations, the Sacred Water Circle, working with the land between, and the Water Walkers, who are a beautiful organization inspired by grandmother Josephine Mandamin. We have some unique initiatives with Trent business students engaging with Indigenous knowledges and communities, Kawartha World Issues Center, Indigenous Youth Leadership, and these are just a snapshot of all of the things that are going on to support our #1 objective. But the first, of course, we're going to focus on is the Bishka Program.
Thanks, Jane. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the Bishka Program. Bishka is Anishinaabe for Rise Up. And it's a program that supports first-year Indigenous students transitioning into Fleming College. So Bishka runs as a peer mentorship program, and we really focus on holistic health and well-being in terms of support to encourage student success in their post-secondary journeys. And so we try to ensure that students' emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual needs are met. So the Bishka program specifically is centered around students developing peer relationships as the foundation to their post-secondary journey and experience. So it begins with an orientation just before school starts, which provides some leadership opportunities for the peer mentors, as well as an opportunity for new students to learn about supports and resources and really build that foundational knowledge of Ngojuanong and the new area that they're now in. So we accomplished this by culturally centered workshops and programming, which includes visits from local elders and traditional knowledge holders, and that continues throughout the academic year. And so new students are continuously supported by staff in Indigenous Student Services, as well as the student peer mentors as they experience their first year in post-secondary education. So some of the outcomes, the effectiveness and outcomes of the Bishka program is that we've seen 100% retention rates for students who participate in the program, as well as 100% graduation rates for students participating. There's opportunities for development of leadership skills. Many mentors actually go on to, many mentees actually go on to become mentors, and they speak to their experience and what it meant to them in their transition to post-secondary. And so seeing them come full circle and then want to be mentors and leaders in the Fleming community is really, really great to be able to see firsthand. There's also an engagement with Indigenous teachings. This helps to ensure students have a deeper understanding of the natural world, cultural history, perspectives, as well as a better understanding of sustainability issues. And the focus is locally, but does expand because we do have students coming from a variety of communities across the province and sometimes across Canada. Many students also experience, a strengthening of cultural sustainability and knowledge. Many students coming to post-secondary are often in a transition time in their lives where they're learning more about their cultural identities, and it's a really great opportunity for students to start that process. They tend to share their experiences and understanding with their family and friends and peers as well. So it creates that growth mindset and opening of perspectives and understandings in the community as a whole, and in a variety of communities based on where that student is coming from. And then there's that achievement of a community within a community. So we like to think of ourselves as a community at Fleming as a whole, as being an inclusive environment to support all students. And the Bishka program really creates that smaller community within that larger community. And so I just wanted to end with a quick quote from one of the mentees in the program. And so he explains it as giving a sense of being in a family. It really gives you a sense that you're a part of something bigger. And so that was really impactful to hear students say that of their experience. And he had also said that he felt he had radical acceptance there and that there wasn't judgment. It was a place where he could all be himself, a place that would accept you for who you are. And so it's just amazing to see those outcomes, both in the statistics of how, the success of the program, but also students' experiences from that, the other side of their being. And so again, bringing it back to that emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual self. So I'm glad I was able to share some of that with you, and we'll pass it back to Jane.
Well, the other partner in this research project was the First Nations Technical Institute, and a really unique approach to learning, braided healing with learning that builds on or picks up on that holistic approach to learning. FNTI works directly with communities to identify employment needs. And so, as one of their vice presidents, Adam Hopkins, says, they'll go into a community and they might say, we need 15 social workers. And so they go right within the community to train people. And the way they do it is with intensive week-long sessions that are offered once per month over a 2-year period. And that allows students to stay right within their communities, to maintain their family responsibilities, their community responsibilities. And that has a particular benefit for women who often can't leave their communities to go to school. And the really amazing part of it, the braided healing with learning, brings elders, instructors, and student success workers all together within the classroom to support that personal growth of the student, that holistic well-being that Ashley talked about. And that is really a key to their academic success. So they really bring together Western curriculum with Indigenous teachings. And as a result, they have a 94 to 96% graduation rate. And I too would like to just offer a quote from one of the students, Kristen, who said, "It's incorporating learning in a circle. It's incorporating ceremony to get you in the mindset of learning. It's incorporating all this knowledge, not just from the instructor, but also ancestral knowledge." And one of the people who's had a vast experience with all three institutions, Dan Longboat, wanted us to emphasize that it's these three institutions, the college, the institute, and the university together, that provide amazing holistic pathways, not just for Indigenous students, but for all students. And so Elder Dorothy is going to close with a quote from Professor Longboat that sums up a lot of this research.
Right, yes. And as you can, as you have seen demonstrated, that it's Indigenous-led, culturally significant components in a successful education that we have witnessed in those two amazing programs. So Dan Longboat is the director of the Indigenous Environmental Studies program at Trent University, and he's highly regarded elder and faith keeper. So his quote goes, you know, when you are training one person, they are connected to a family, connected to an extended family, connected to a community, connected to a nation. That's a smart investment. By looking at the elements of education, you're never going to get to have a fully functional citizen within the nation until you address the necessary part of healing. Our history with the West has created tremendous intergenerational trauma that Indigenous learners are carrying today. You can't just provide them with a few books and read an essay to write. It's much deeper than that. That's where the cultural-based education comes in, and that's the foundation for change. The introduction of that within Indigenous pedagogy is life-changing for all learners, be they Indigenous or not. Miigwech Kinawag for listening to our presentation today. And we just wanted to put this next slide up because it gives, it's just an outline of the credits of who we had worked together with on this research project. And we like to say miigwech very much. Miigwech.